Let's get right into it. Bananas are radioactive. Believe it or not, every time you peel a banana, you're holding something that's naturally radioactive. Sounds alarming, right? Don't worry, it's completely harmless. Bananas are rich in potassium, and a tiny fraction of that potassium is a naturally occurring radioactive isotope called potassium-40. The amount is so incredibly small that scientists can measure it, but it's nowhere near enough to pose a health risk to the people eating it. Here's the funny part. Scientists sometimes use something called the banana equivalent dose to compare extremely tiny amounts of radiation. And bananas aren't the only radioactive thing around. You are too. Your body naturally contains potassium, including a trace of potassium-40, meaning you're constantly giving off a tiny amount of radiation. So the next time someone tells you bananas are radioactive, you can smile and say, technically, so am I. Honey never expires. Imagine opening a jar of honey that's older than an entire civilization and finding it's still edible. Sounds impossible, right? Yet archaeologists have discovered sealed pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that remained preserved after more than 3,000 years. Honey lasts so long because it naturally contains very little water, has a high sugar concentration, and is acidic, creating an environment where bacteria and mold struggle to survive. Here's the surprising part. If your honey turns thick or forms crystals, it hasn't gone bad at all. Crystallization is simply the natural sugar, mainly glucose, forming tiny crystals over time. Gently warming the jar will return it to a smooth liquid without ruining the honey. That's why honey is one of the very few foods that can remain edible for thousands of years, as long as it's stored properly and kept sealed. Sharks are older than trees. Sharks might seem like modern ocean predators, but here's something that sounds completely unbelievable. They were already swimming through Earth's seas long before the first tree ever grew. The earliest sharks appeared around 450 million years ago, while the first true trees didn't arrive until roughly 385 million years ago. Think about that for a second. Sharks were ancient even when our planet's forests didn't exist. And that's where things get even more incredible. Over hundreds of millions of years, sharks survived multiple mass extinctions, witnessed continents drift apart, and even outlived the dinosaurs. While countless species disappeared forever, these remarkable fish kept adapting to a changing world. So the next time you see a shark, remember, you're looking at one of Earth's oldest surviving success stories, a creature whose family tree is older than every forest on the planet. Octopuses have 3 hearts. Imagine going through life with 3 hearts instead of 1. Sounds like science fiction, but for an octopus, it's reality. 2 hearts pump blood to the gills, where oxygen is collected, while the third sends that oxygen-rich blood to the rest of the body. Here's the strange twist. When an octopus swims, that main heart becomes much less effective, making swimming surprisingly exhausting for these incredible animals. And that's not the only thing that sets them apart. An octopus doesn't even have red blood. It has blue blood because it uses a copper-based molecule called hemocyanin, instead of iron-rich hemoglobin. Hemocyanin carries oxygen more efficiently in cold, low-oxygen water, helping octopuses survive in the deep sea. So between 3 hearts and blue blood, these remarkable creatures almost seem like visitors from another planet, yet they're living right here in Earth's oceans. Water boils and freezes together. Water boiling and freezing at the exact same time sounds impossible, but under the right conditions, it really happens. Scientists call this the triple point of water, a precise combination of temperature and pressure where ice, liquid water, and water vapor can all exist together in perfect balance. It's one of those rare moments where nature seems to ignore the rules we experience every day. Here's why it's so fascinating. Normally, water needs completely different conditions to boil than it does to freeze. But at the triple point, those conditions align perfectly, allowing all 3 states to coexist at once. This phenomenon isn't just a scientific curiosity. It has also been used as an important reference for accurately calibrating temperature measurements. Sometimes the strangest facts turn out to be the most useful ones. Wombats, poop cubes. Nature has created striped zebras, glowing jellyfish, and somehow cube-shaped poop. Believe it or not, Wombats are the only known animals that regularly produce cubed droppings. It sounds like a joke, but it's completely real. Scientists believe the unusual shape helps keep the droppings from rolling away, allowing wombats to leave them on rocks and logs as scent markers to communicate and defend their territory. Here's the amazing part. The cubes aren't formed at the moment they're expelled. Instead, they gradually take shape inside the wombat's intestine, where different sections stretch by different amounts as the waste moves through. The result is a remarkably neat little cube instead of the round droppings produced by most mammals. It's one of nature's strangest engineering tricks, and proof that evolution can solve problems in the most unexpected ways. Scotland's national animal. Here's a question that sounds like a trick. What if a real country chose a mythical creature as its national animal? Believe it or not, Scotland's official national animal is the unicorn. It wasn't picked because people believed unicorns were real, but because in Scottish mythology they symbolize strength, purity, independence, and freedom. For centuries, the legendary creature became an important royal emblem throughout Scotland, and the tradition is still alive today. The unicorn appears in Scottish heraldry and even stands beside the lion on the United Kingdom's royal coat of arms, where the lion represents England and the unicorn represents Scotland. So while you'll never find a real unicorn roaming the Highlands, its place in Scotland's history and identity is very real, proving that sometimes legends leave a lasting mark on the real world. More plastic than flamingos. Believe it or not, there was a time when plastic flamingos outnumbered real ones. After colorful lawn flamingos were introduced in the 1950s, they became a huge hit across North America. Millions were manufactured, turning front yards into bright pink displays. At the same time, wild flamingo populations changed over the years because of habitat loss and other environmental pressures, making this surprising comparison possible. Here's the important detail. This isn't a permanent record or a fact that stays true forever. Both the number of plastic flamingos produced and the population of real flamingos continue to change over time. That's why historians and wildlife experts describe it as a historical observation, not a constant fact. Still, it's hard to imagine that a simple lawn ornament once gave one of the world's most iconic birds some unexpected competition. Clouds weigh millions of pounds. Look up at the sky and you might see a soft, fluffy cloud floating peacefully above you. It looks weightless, almost like a piece of cotton. But here's the surprising truth. Many clouds actually weigh hundreds of thousands of kilograms, with some average cumulus clouds containing more than 1 million pounds of water. That is heavier than many giant vehicles, yet they somehow stay suspended in the sky. So why doesn't a cloud come crashing down? The secret is in the tiny details. A cloud is made of billions of microscopic water droplets spread across a huge area. Each droplet is incredibly small, allowing rising air currents to keep them floating. But when those droplets collide and combine into larger drops, gravity takes over, and they finally fall as rain. A cloud may look light, but nature is carrying an enormous amount of water above our heads. Until we meet again.